This is our fire series. We're going to talk about fire itself. Fire is very important, especially in this drought situation, because you need it to cook your food. You need it to warm yourself. You can purify your water, and it even helps to dispel the bad thoughts that are trying to creep in. And so what we want to do is talk about fire. We want to talk about it in the parts that you need. Actually, you got to have at least three things in order to have fire. One of them is you have to have something to burn. Okay, you have something that's going to combust. So that's your fuel. You got to have your fuel. You also got to have some oxygen. A lot of oxygen helps. And then you got to have heat. You got to have those three things in order to have fire. So any one of those that are lacking is going to stop you from getting fire. So, moisture and cold are two bad enemies against fire. And everybody knows how firemen go in there and they spray the water down to stop the fire. And that takes away your heat and it stops your oxygen. And so any one of those three things that you don't have, you end up losing those. You're not going to get fire. Matchless fires, we want to talk about how the actual edges start easier than surfaces. And if you took a piece of paper and took a lighter, ran the lighter underneath it out to the edge will catch a whole lot easier than the surface does. And so that's something you got to drill in your head. All the things that you do with a matchless fire, you want lots and lots of edges. And when we set a fire, we talk about all the little dead twigs. They have a lot more edges than they do surface. And when they have that, they do a lot better. So lots and lots of edges. And when we do matchless fires, we're going to do them in stages. Now what I mean by stages is that you're going to actually have a ray of sun. Like you're going to have a spark. You're going to have a hot coal. You're going to have something like that that is going to start. And then you need to add that to some tinder. And that's going to be your first stage. Sometimes you have to add that into something else. There'll be times when you do stages where it takes multiple stages in order to actually get it to the point to where you're going to have fire. And on matchless fires, a lot of times we'll have tinder, and once we get something hot into the tinder, then we actually have to blow that into a flame. And so a lot of times you can do it in one stage, sometimes two, and there are a couple of instances where you actually have to go to 3 stages in order to actually get fire from a source. So that's what you need to have. You need to have fuel, you need to have heat, and you need to have oxygen in order to get fire. We talk about 3 stages at least, sometimes 2, and some of them you can get in 1. So keep that in mind as you go through and you watch these different videos of the different kinds of fires. You'll see some of them where we're doing single stage, some of them 2 stages. Iron pyrite and flint, you usually have to do 3 stages in order to get that. So if you're using fluff like from cattail top or milk thistle or something, usually the fluff goes so quick that you'll need a second stage and have that fluff start in the second stage. Then you take the second stage over and blow that into a flame, and usually that works too. So anyways, that's our little talk on how to do fire. So keep that in mind as you go looking through these other videos here to see how we incorporate